Marwan, what have you done? This is the craziest, coolest video that you've ever made. Ever. You're a genius. You're a genius. Guys, I just got to see this for the first time. Marwan said, don't watch it. Don't watch it. You got to see the thing first. I'm cooking. It's like the base gang on LSD. And boy, he was right. Absolutely insane. Guys, I watched it all the way straight through so you can see my full unbridled reaction, and then I go back and break it down. I let you guys know everything that happens in the arrangement, the production, talk a lot about Marwan's incredible video editing. I hope you enjoy. This is my first time reaction and full musical breakdown of my production with the Bass Gang featuring Eric Holloway. My Mother Told Me. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Oh, I thought that was a mistake with the video.
My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant
Oh my god, it's perfect for this moment.
Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven. You many foemen, my mother told me someday I would buy.
Oh no!
Galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course.
Welcome to the new fucking Bass Gang, baby.
You many foemen, my mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course to the haven. You many foemen, my mother told me.
Yes, Eric, get it, baby.
Would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the noble bark I steady course to the
Oh no!
you many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars.
Holy shit!
Distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven. You many foemen, my mother told me someday I
Yes.
would buy
Now his video looks great.
galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course to the haven. You many foemen, My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. On the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course to the haven. You many foemen.
You fucking psycho, Marwan. Oh my god. Wow, dude, you are not kidding. Bass Gang on LSD. That was... I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be crazy. That was way crazier than I ever could have anticipated. Oh my gosh. so cool. And like, I feel just like the way I made it, where it is like this completely flipped upside down modern electronic version of this Viking shanty, like so dope to lean into that, fully lean into that. And we have moments where like the moments where it's more traditional, looks more traditional, and the moments where it's been heavily influenced by my crazy harebrained mad scientist music production, like perfectly fits the vibe. Man, no one can say the Bass Gang is not going for it and trying new shit. I mean, both with the audio that I'm so incredibly proud of, and you know, I think people are either gonna hate it or they're gonna love it, and that's fine. I think that's really cool to do that with music, and I think people are just gonna love the video. I don't think people are gonna hate the video. I think the video is perfect for the song. Holy shit. All right, let's go back and give you guys a little BTS. This will probably be in the middle of a very long video talking about all of Volume 4. But this is the first one I'm recording because the others I was seeing ahead of time. Marwan did not want me to watch this one until it was done at all, so I haven't seen any of it until now. Let's go back, guys. Let's go back. Wow, Marwan, 10 out of 10. You are a genius. Honest to God. You're a prodigy. You remain a prodigy. Okay, so this whole intro is totally original, right? I wrote it out of nothing. Sometimes I like doing this for covers. And I even used to do it all the way back in undergrad, even if I would keep the actual song part more of like a transcription and true to the original, I would often write some kind of cool, fully original intro to make it, you know, to put some kind of big spin on it. This one's no different, except of course with the actual arrangement. The voices are somewhat traditional until we get later in the song where there's some distortion and some cool, like some like tons of cool added harmonies and stuff. Those really high tenor parts that are super distorted, that was Marwan's idea. He like sent me some crazy stuff and then suggested adding distortion on them. Absolutely nailed it with that. Of course, the production, the kind of dubsteppy heavy electronics, that was all just what I wanted to do with the song. I wanted to do something different. It's been done basically the same way time and time and time again. And I love taking risks as a musician and producer. And I love it when other groups take risks. That's why Voice Play is my favorite a cappella group, because they take crazy risks with their arrangements. All to say, this is an original intro. And pay attention. You guys surely have heard the Rachmaninoff B flat. Ooh, all the way down to the low B flat in the Rachmaninoff Vespers. Well, I wrote that line in for Eric, except it's in F sharp. So he goes from an F sharp 2 to an F sharp 1 in pure chest voice, and he even sustains a low E1 in pure chest voice towards the end. Now, I don't know of any other bass that has been recorded singing down, sustaining a low F sharp, going down to an E1, and then back up to the F sharp in pure chest voice. But we had Eric Holloway, so he did it. And I wrote this section as kind of a back and forth between me and Eric. Eric's in the middle. If you listen, stereoscopic image, Eric's right in the middle, singing that descent, right down the middle, all the way down to the E1 and F sharp. And it's me in the left ear and him on the right, going back and forth in that, my mother, my mother, my mother, my mother. And then in the background, we had these cool kind of like tribal chants that me and Tommy are doing. And we also have some like sustained harmonies from, you know, basically bass, not super low bass, but bass all the way up to soprano. So fully original intro, and then we'll get into the next section. Insane.
My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course to the haven, you many foemen, you many foemen.
Crazy. So this is very much like the typical My Mother Told Me arrangement. Voices only, pure a cappella, still very bassy, but then gets way bassier when Eric comes in. Again, goes down foemen, all the way down to that F sharp right at the end of this phrase. We're all, like, the bass line here is, my mother told me someday I would buy. Not even changing chords down to that E that you'll hear later in the song. Just like drone on that F sharp. Very traditional. Very proud of the mixing and the soundscape I created with this. Like the reverb and delay on the vocals I think is perfect. It's like just long enough to fill up the empty space between lines. By the way, patting myself on the back, this is the only song on the album that's not mixed by Ed Boyer. This is actually mixed by me, and I'm so proud that, in my opinion, it holds up. I don't think the mixing is as good as Ed. Ed is a god of vocal mixing, but I'm very, very proud of this mix, especially getting later in the song when there's everything from strings, big brass section, big dubsteppy drums and electronics, and you still hear Eric's low vocals right in the middle. Very, very proud. But this whole section, really, really beautiful, and Eric only comes in at the very end. Funny thing about this is Eric actually was supposed to record parts that I had labeled for everyone, but he only recorded the parts that I had specifically labeled his name on it. And so what we get is the bass gang singing until Eric comes in with this final low bass line that I needed specifically him to do because none of us can do it in chest voice, and we have Eric Holloway. So he was originally going to be on all this. He was originally going to be singing the whole time, but it turned out to where he's now kind of a feature that just jumps in to blast the bass here and there, and I think it's perfect. And then in verse 6, with the second acapella verse, he's singing with us the whole time for like this style, basically. But yeah, run it back. Let's listen to it again. Then we'll get into the craziness.
By galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course to the haven, you many foemen, you many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores.
So what we have, again, pretty standard, traditional bassy version of the original song, kind of how you've heard it, right? My mother told me someday I would buy, with added harmonies and such, a little bit above that, but pretty bassy. Under this, we have this really cool sub bass, but it has like an airy quality to it. So you hear like a in addition to like the super low F sharps and E's that's happening in the bass line. And I also have a cool synth that's going something like all around the soundscape while that's happening. And those are and of course the heavy kicks, heavy snares, and hi-hats layered in there as well. So it's pretty stripped down still from where we go later, but really, really cool. So just pay attention to that when the sub bass comes in, the heavy samples, and otherwise it's a pretty standard vocal arrangement.
Many foemen, my mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God, I love it even more this time.
Course to the haven, you many foemen, you many foemen.
Dude, he's got the colors shifting. He's got like a pulse rumble on every kick sound. I mean, this is crazy cool. This is crazy cool, and I swear to God, it fits it perfectly. If it had been standard in terms of the video, it would have been a little disjunct with how it sounds versus how it looks. This is perfect. Marwan, what the hell, dude? This is absolutely perfect. Okay, next verse, we get some changes. I'll flag them here in a second. And then we get Eric actually on lead here.
Course to the haven, you many foemen, you many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores.
So we have Eric just going, maybe someday I would buy, like down to those C sharps and back up. So cakey for him. And I've got his voice right there in the middle. We have a new synth that I'm not going to be able to replicate with my voice. But if you listen, it's on every beat. Wow, wow. And it's like this metallic-y dubstep hit that just goes perfectly in line. And again, that's going to be mostly, I think, in your left and right ear happening. That's the main difference between the first and second verse. And the hi-hats have picked up a little. Otherwise, pretty similar. But now, you'll notice that the rhythms for the traditional arrangement have changed. So originally it's, my mother told me. Now it's, my mother told me someday I would buy. So I changed all the rhythms to make a big... You can't really change melodically all that much in the vocals, so I wanted to change something, and I changed the rhythms of basically every single line from the first verse going to the second verse. Or second verse going to third verse. There's 7 verses in the song. It gets confusing. The standard. Now listen for the new rhythms.
My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars.
And listen to that metallic synth.
To distant shores, stand up on the prow. Noble bark I steer,
Steady course to the haven.
you many foemen, you many foemen. My mother told
And Tommy does this throat bass all the way down to this low F sharp again. And that actually runs the whole time underneath this whole verse, right? And I think that's the main difference. But then in this verse, because I was like, okay, well, I can't repeat this verse just like the last one, even with the Tommy throat bass thing. So what am I gonna do? I'm going to cut this verse in half, and the first half is going to be traditional, and the second half is going to be a full-on breakdown / build up into a drop, like a dubsteppy drop. So again, like breaking all the molds for this song, breaking all the repetitiveness in any way I can. And Marwan is just going to make the perfect video to fit all that.
haven, you many foemen, you many foemen. My mother told
New harmonies too.
someday I would buy galleys with good oars,
Jesus.
sails to distant shores.
I also added some echoes. So there's new harmonies here. My mother told me someday I would buy. That's a new bass line. And I also have, I think, me and Tommy in the left and right ear doing some echo-like stuff as well in this verse.
Many foemen, my mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars,
Yeah.
sails to distant shores. Stand up on the
And this section, this is the breakdown / drop section. And I had everyone filming downlighting. I made this storyboard up on the spot. Marwan's responsible for all the crazy psychedelic color shit. My only cool idea was the close-ups with the downlighting and the close-ups in the intro where it's like me and Eric back to back and face to face. All the other crazy video stuff, that's all Marwan.
shores. Stand up on the
This looks sick.
noble bark I steady course to the human foemen, human foemen, human foemen, human foemen. My mother told me someday.
Oh my God. And with the psychedelic and then he punches the camera. Oh, I mean, this does look fantastic. I'm proud of this idea. The downlighting, it looks really, really, really good. Really, really cool. And then it gets crazy. And this whole section you hear is like what I like to call, it sounds like it's underwater, where I've filtered out all the high frequencies of the drums and the build-up and stuff. There's this one crazy cool bass line that is a low sub, but you almost don't even hear that. You hear this weird, like, buzzy... I don't even know how to explain it. It sounds kind of like it comes from outer space. The bass is actually called satellite. This style of bass is called a satellite bass because it's kind of like alien. And it builds and builds and builds, and then you hear what happens next. The drums get crazy, the harmonies get crazy, and then what we have in the drop section is we have both rhythms happening. So you have the standard, my mother told me, and you have my mother told me. So you have both of those rhythms happening throughout all our voices with the crazy drums, and and the video just brings it home, man.
Stand up on the noble bark, steady course to the humany foemen, humany foemen, humany foemen, humany foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails and distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, many foemen, many foemen.
So it gets as crazy and psychedelic as possible, and then because I didn't want to end the song yet, I was like, okay, how the hell am I going to make 2 more verses interesting? Like, we've already repeated the same text and melodies pretty much for 5 verses. What am I going to do for 6 and 7? So everything goes away. It goes back to complete acapella, completely back to our roots, bass acapella music. But this time we have Eric for the whole acapella verse, which makes it different than the first time you heard the acapella verse. Now we have Eric the whole time. There's a couple added harmonies as well, but it's pretty much the same as that first acapella verse. And then we go into this final section when it's basically everything from this section, the crazy psychedelic section, but there's brass in there. There's Marwan doing a crazy distorted tenor line, and then Eric once again comes in just for the final line, all the way down to that crazy low F sharp, and that's how the song finishes. So I'm gonna let this play out, I think, and see if I flag anything else.
My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer.
Raw bass.
To the haven, many foemen, many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sails to distant shores. Proud, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, many foemen.
I mean, come on. If you pay attention in the right ear, I'm doing my mother told, like I'm doing some huge operatic line in the right ear. We've got Marwan's crazy tenor line there, and we also have me and Tommy, I think, going like like doing some crazy like tribal soprano shit in the background as well. Man, this is wild. This might be my favorite edit ever from Marwan, just because it's so inventive and creative, and God, I hope people love it as much as I do. I really do. The song's not doing as well on streaming as the other songs, I think, because it's quite different, right? You're kind of gonna love it or you're gonna hate it, but it is different and it's memorable. and I'm very proud of it. Marwan, bravo to you, man. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, guys. Support the Bass Gang. Obviously, support me on my Patreon. What else is there? See you guys in the next one. Peace. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. If you're here, you just watched my analysis for My Mother Told Me. That was my baby for May the Bass Be With You, Volume 4. We're about to get into The Dragonborn comes from Skyrim originally. This is our bass singers cover featuring Vinnie Marquis. Let's get into it.
I tell you, the Dragonborn comes.
I love this so much. This project was actually a big burden for Marwan. He didn't love the arrangement process for this one, but it turned out incredibly well. For a long time, he was using, high quality samples for orchestra, which more and more nowadays, if you get the right sample library, can work. I mean, because they're recorded with real instruments. It's not like they're synthesized. But we hired the Severn duo on Fiverr, and they were only supposed to play 4 parts, like violin 1, violin 2, viola, cello, and they ended up playing 11. So we technically have an 11-piece string orchestra, chamber orchestra, playing underneath us. And I will never forget when they sent us, how this group works is they send us like a little demo, not mixed or anything, but just with their instruments factored in. And from the first moment of those cellos and double basses in the intro, I was like crying and had full body chills. Just like, it's so fantastic to have live instruments on the track. Peep the C-sharp 1 that your boy blasts here in the intro. I think it's just me. It goes C-sharp 2, C-sharp 2, G-sharp 1, C-sharp 1 in the bass line. Maybe we all did it. I don't know.
I tell you, the Dragonborn comes.
Right, so we're in C-sharp minor. So we're getting this C-sharp minor to B major. So we're going the C-sharp minor to B major. That's the major flat 7 of a minor chord, of a minor key. Do bottom. Or if you want to do the Aeolian cadence, my favorite. Da ba ba bum. Right? So this is just going to the 7. This is, of course, all in the original. Marwan did a couple things differently in this version. Harmonically, Marwan likes to throw major chords into minor pieces, and other crunchy chords sometimes. There are a lot of those in hide and seek. There's a couple major chords thrown in here when they would have otherwise been minor, but pretty true to the original music, which is stunning. I mean, some of the best music written is in video games, no question. Our dear friend Colin McGuinness writes for AAA video games, big video games, and when Bobby and I were in LA, he was showing us his session for the final boss battle in Critical Role. And it was really cool to see him and his whole setup and how he goes about things. But video game music, amazing. And even though this project was a chore for Marwan, sorry, my camera's a little, there we go, was a little bit of a chore for Marwan, it turned out so incredibly well. And of course the bell tones.
I tell you, the Dragonborn comes. With a voice wielding power of the ancient Lord. Believe, the Dragonborn comes.
And y'all didn't think I would not talk about Vinny, right? I mean, Vinny's got this incredible, super high, light tenor voice. Sings a lot of countertenor rep, which is not a natural voice type. It's a trained voice type where you basically you develop your falsetto to a really impressive and strong degree, and that's what Vinny has done. So he has this amazing falsetto. But of course, if he's just walking around, he's not going to be speaking up here. If he was doing that, then it would be a natural voice type, but that's not how it is for countertenors. They still speak naturally in their chest voices, but then they sing and they develop the falsetto or the M2 registration. Vinny's just got such fantastic control over it, and it's so strong that it's not always clear which register he's actually singing in.
It's an end to the
So that's all the way up to F sharp 4 for Vinny right off the bat, and it's so easy and light and just floaty, and he's keeping a little bit of breathiness in the sound, right? Just starting it off in a nice intimate place. It's just wonderful. I also love the gameplay Marwan put in the background. I'll go forward a bit. I don't want to go all the way back to the beginning.
with a voice wielding power of the ancient Lord.
So that's a high G sharp. It's a high G sharp, a major third below, tenor high C. And it just sounds so easy and clear and like no struggle. And again, it's so easy for him. I would think it is in his falsetto, but I'm just not quite sure.
With a voice wielding power of the ancient Lord.
I think it's in his chest voice.
Believe the Dragonborn comes.
And Marwan on the video editing. I mean, absolutely fantastic. This was a lot of filming for us. I think I shot it must have been like 60 or 70 videos, something like that for this project. He just wanted every possible angle to work with and every close-up. We even did full body shots that finally turned out really well for us, which is great. And we'll see more later, but he's just such a wonderful job. I love that Marwan threw the gameplay in here as well. It's really... Bobby was just showing me Skyrim when he was out visiting me. I had never played it, and so it's cool for me, kind of like a Skyrim noob, to see the gameplay. And I'm sure for the OG Skyrim fans, this was like a big addition to the video. But yeah, Marwan, as always, video absolutely impeccable.
It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes. Beware, the Dragonborn comes.
Voice was thick that morning when I recorded that. Beware. It was after one of the big nights in Aspen, so I had my recording set up in my little dorm room, set up like all the acoustic foam and everything. And it was after one of the nights we went out, which is not all that much. It's a crazy busy festival, but after one of the big nights, I recorded vocals for this, and my voice was real thick. I love how this variation comes in though. For the first verse, we have just Vinny, and then we have Vinny and one of the 4 basses singing, and it's just such a cool contrast to get the low basses singing at the same time as Vinny.
It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes. Beware, the Dragonborn comes. For the darkness has passed and the legend yet grows. You'll know the Dragonborn comes.
I love the pizzicato, that plucked sound. Plunk, 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 plunk. Those plucked sounds is called pizzicato in orchestration. And it is when literally the string players, instead of bowing their instrument, they're actually plucking the instrument with their fingers. Really cool. Adds some nice lightness and levity and motion to a sound. Wanted to talk about just for a second the makeup. We wanted to have, so we're all wearing the same shirts throughout all of Volume 4, but we wanted to have some variations. So for this one, we had Dragonborn face paint from Skyrim. Not exactly, but we looked up examples and kind of made up our own thing. we all did our own makeup except for Bobby. His friend Maisie did makeup for him. I know, we just found that out. That's why it looks so good. Did my own makeup. Pretty proud of how it turned out as well. But we all had the same shirts. For Castamere, we wore the fur. For our solos, for My Mother Told Me, it was just the shirts. But then that video turned out to be so crazy because of Marwan's editing and did the downlighting. And then Valhalla Calling, we had the shirts, but then we also had the shirtless, all recorded in the same room, naked together. That's how it went. Tommy said we had to, so you know we got to do what he wants. But there was like enough variation in the costuming, and especially with the videos, to where we're all wearing the same costumes pretty much the entirety of Volume 4, but it doesn't really register that way.
Beware, beware, the Dragonborn comes. For the darkness has passed and the legend yet grows.
And Bobby, it's a G-sharp 1.
You'll know the Dragonborn comes.
There's a major chord. So C-sharp major instead of C-sharp minor.
Oh, you'll know the Dragonborn comes.
And that's just stunning. That's just wonderful vocal writing from Marwan. And then we have the orchestra just playing these stunning, fully fleshed out chords underneath us and above us, depending on the instrument. And it's just a beautiful section. And then, of course, we have another kind of choral-like section later, and it's almost more like a fugue where there's all these moving parts, and it's totally different. And it's just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. My favorite part of the whole song is that second, fugue-like classical moment. Absolutely incredible. Just beautiful. Lush. So lush. Got all those strings, the really high strings, really high violins moving. That I love that moving in the background. And it is this. I mean, now we've got some drum samples. Like now the song's really starting to drive, right? And so the motion in the strings is picking up. The drum samples are picking up. Of course, we're singing this dragon language super intensely, so that's picking up. It's really starting to move. Hardest part of the video shoot was nailing the lip sync for the dragon language. It just doesn't stick in your brain very much. As someone who has sung a bunch in other languages, it takes time. So I remember like there were plenty of takes where I'd get like halfway through the chorus and then just blank or mess up a word. And little mistakes you can get by with. No one really notices if a lot's happening in the video. But if you just like completely do the wrong vowel, if you're supposed to sing like ah and you say like ooh, you have to reshoot that. So there was a decent amount of reshooting the choruses, but we had to do it so many times. Marwan had to shoot so many videos that like by the end of it, it was like, oh, got it all day, no problem. Love this little bass line Marwan does. Oh. So there's some samples here. Often what you do as a producer is you still use samples, but if you can get live players, especially for the leading stuff, that helps. There's always going to be an organic touch to the truly live sound. But for background stuff, if you're like fleshing out an arrangement or fleshing out a mix, absolutely fantastic to have really good samples. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'm working on some really big projects right now, and basically the goal is to have all the background stuff, like the big, block chords and stuff like that, be samples, but then for the big leading melodies, hire live players. Almost certainly the same people that played on Dragonborn, because they're fantastic. But Marwan has some really good brass samples too, which are probably the hardest ones to come by. I also just dropped about $1,000 for Black Friday sales on a bunch of amazing samples and plugins and stuff. One of which is the Spitfire Audio Symphony that has really good brass and really good strings. I'm very excited about that. But here we get the drums, we get the moving strings, we get the brass hits at the start of each like big phrase. Probably bass trombone or trombone mainly, and just sounds incredible, super epic. Hear this? Major chord. My favorite section right here. It's like so like perfect, like lush epic fantasy music. Like that section, just right when it starts, I just feel like I'm transported into another world. It's so good. Marwan did such a good job with that. Also, huge shout out to two things. One, the full body shots, absolutely to be saluted, looking fantastic. And two, this really cool edit idea that Marwan had that he got from a Pentatonics video a long time ago, where you have one take where you're super still and you have another take going like all over the place. And so you get the stillness, but you get this like ghostly dance happening around you. So we're all doing it in this section here, one at a time, but then it goes into this just amazing fantasy section and we're all doing it. And it's just perfect. It's so, so good. It's like so much cool emotion. La da 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 la da 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 la da 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 ya da 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 da. Just beautiful, just weaving in and out from one another. Oh, it's my favorite section of the song. There was a lot of subtle choreo things that Marwan had us do. This is one that was the least subtle, where it's very clear, like beat your chest, arms across, and then arms open on that fusroda. Now we had to do that in the middle of like probably one of the longest video takes for the shoot. It was like in the middle of this super long background part, and it was so easy to mess it up. And so like I remember a couple times I would do a full take and I would nail it, but I'd be like, fuck, I forgot the choreo. So I had to like go back and shoot it again just to get the choreo down. It was a challenge. It was a challenging shoot, but it was a lot of fun, especially the crazy ghost shooting thing. I had a lot of fun with that one. And it couldn't have turned out better. I mean, it's just perfect. It's perfect. We look tough, man. crazy cool cadence. And we end in B major. End in B major. Where do we start there, actually? Let's see. So So I guess we're in A flat minor, same as Misty Mountains, and then we end up in the relative major, which is B major. I think that's how it goes. Because we had a key change earlier. A flat minor. There it is. And I love this. It's just absolutely perfect. Bass increase to 100. Fact. Alright guys, there you have it. Volume 4. Hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed my analysis for these videos, and especially my first time reaction for My Mother Told Me. That was as reactive as I ever get on this channel. If you guys enjoyed the analysis, please consider joining my Patreon community. We'd love to have you over there. Of course, go join the Bass Gang. The reason we can put these videos together and hire amazing editors and hire live string players is because of Patreon. Seriously, that is our best source of support is Patreon. So go check out the Bass Gang, support us there. Should I get custom jerseys made for everybody? So I have an affiliate link if you guys want to check it out. You can make your own custom jersey, DIYOJ. It's in my description below. And I really should get jerseys made for the boys. So let me know if you think I should. Hope you guys enjoyed Volume 4. We don't know if we're doing another EP next year or an album next year. It's up for debate right now. It kind of depends how these songs do. People might want to hear more bassy fantasy stuff. I get the feeling they do. So, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you guys in the next video. Peace.